Hi and welcome to an art tutorial. During this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a really beautiful textured background using just ink, cling wrap and some water as well. So there's a few things that we're going to need to do this. The first of which is some watercolor paper, and this I've got here is Arches paper. We need the inks, and I'm going to use some yellow and some blue. We need Glad wrap, and we need some water as well in a container. Now the first thing that we're going to do, and you can see I've got my paper here on a towel because this is going to get a little bit messy, but what we need to do is we need to grab our water, and I have a container of water here, and I'm going to use a really thick brush as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put water on my watercolor paper, and I want to make it really quite damp so that when you look at the paper you can see the water on top of there, and you can see I've just spilt a bit of water there as well. Okay. Now this Arches paper is great because you can actually make it quite damp and it'll still hold its shape. It's not going to bend like other papers. Okay, so I've got that pretty damp there. Very quickly now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my inks, and these are great because they actually have an eyedropper in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some of my ink on, and I'm not going to put too much ink on there because as you can see it really spreads, and if I put too much ink on there it's just going to be way too thick. Okay, so a bit of yellow there as well. Okay, that is plenty. Now if you put your ink on and it doesn't spread like this, that means that you haven't got enough water on there, and in fact we could have actually put a bit more water on there ourselves. Now I'm just going to grab some Glad wrap, I'm going to chuck that on the top, and I'm just going to use my fingers to move that ink around slightly. Not too much, it's up to you how much you do, of course. Done. And what's going to happen now is I'm going to leave that to dry. It's completely up to you how long you leave it for. If you take off the Glad wrap while it's still wet, so leaving it for say half an hour or so and then taking it off, the Glad wrap is actually going to take some of the paint away for you, and the effect that you're going to get is a bit more subtle. However, if you leave it on to dry, you will get a more textured feel to your paper. So I'm going to leave that there now, but what I will do is I will show you some examples. So let's just move that away. Okay, so here I've got some examples of textured backgrounds that I have created before. So this one clearly using yellow, purple and blue. The bottom bit there you can see is a lot more textured. A lot of that one I've really left the Glad wrap on top fairly smooth. I've also got this one here, and you can see the effect there that the Glad wrap has had. That's another one. Really beautiful backgrounds. And there you go, so you can really see that texture. So I'm going to leave mine on there now and let it dry because I actually want it to be quite textured. Right now you can see the Glad wrap sitting on it, and I'm just going to leave that exactly the way it is to dry, and I might leave that for a few hours even, and then I'll take it off. And what I'll do is I'll take a photo of it, and I will put the photo of the finished product on the site so you can see how it turned out. Thank you,